Last time on Return to Seasons.
The oil pressure gauge was pegging on the high side whenever So this is our engine, Yanmar 3JH4E, and over here on the side, gosh, I don't know if you can make it out from here, but that right there is the oil pressure sender. Obviously really easy to access, and our goal is going to be to try to take it off. It's sort of screwed in down here, and then there's a wire going from the top of it that goes to the gauge. So we want to unscrew it from the bottom, and then we're going to try to install a mechanical oil pressure gauge so that we can test it and see if the sender or the wires are giving us the problem, or whether it's actually an actual problem in our engine. Well, I think it's probably about a half hour, 45 minutes later. Lot of curse words. And I finally got this thing off. This is the sending unit. That's where the wire comes off. There's a wire and a nut that goes on it. This is the side that screws into the engine. Looks like, well, I'm getting in too close here, but it looks like just have some, what looks to be like plumber's tape or something like that around it. Keep that connection tighter. I was worried about what that was exactly. It was caulk or something. So now we're going to try to get on the mechanical tester and see what happens. As you may be able to see, the mechanical tester is now on there. It's a lot easier to get that on than it was to take the actual sending unit off, partly just because there's so much more space without the sending unit in there to tighten everything. So here we've got the mechanical tester, and now Margaret is going to go up top, start the engine, put in reverse, and put on the throttle, which was causing the problem in the first place. I'm going to stay down here and watch the pressure. Hopefully we find out that it's the sender unit or the wires to the gauge, but we'll see. Alright, we turned on the engine. Everything seems about normal. This is about where the pressure goes to, and now Margaret's going to put it into like basically 2,000 RPM reverse. So here we go. Alright, it looks fine. That looks fine. That looks like what it used to be doing before we started having this problem. Whereas up on the gauge, doing that would have spiked it all the way to 140 or 145, whatever our gauge goes to. Alright, just dropped Margaret off at shore. She's going to do a little work in the coffee shop. Charge her computer a little bit too while I continue to work on the engine here. I'd like to fix this and get the gauge working properly, but pretty happy now that we know that it's not the engine itself. It's just something between the sending unit and the gauge. I'm sure some of you guys are watching this and saying, why didn't I check all those wires and check the check the wires first before I went through the trouble of undoing the sending unit? Well, part of the reason is I had no idea what I was doing, and looking at all these descriptions and reading the descriptions of how to troubleshoot this were confusing the hell out of me. Whereas the one thing I knew, or I shouldn't say know how to do, but the one thing that I can imagine doing and being pretty conclusive was taking out the sending unit and putting in that mechanical test. And so now we know at least that the engine's not the problem, and we can get out of St. Michael's when we want to and if we want to. Of course, like I said, I'd like to get this thing fixed And so now I'm going to start going through the process of trying to troubleshoot where the problem is, whether it's the sending unit itself or the wires leading up to the gauge. And this is actually a little bit easier now than it was before because I know a little bit more about how all this stuff hooks together. So I kind of have a better idea of what I was reading on the internet and what I was reading in Nigel Calder's Marine Diesel Engines about testing all of this. So.
After Jeff finished putting the engine back together, we decided that we would head out and get on our way down to Cambridge, Maryland. So we went and disposed of our used oil at Higgins Yacht Yard and headed out.
So we are heading down to Oxford today, and we're coming out of St. Michael's, where we spent the last 5 or 6 days. We were visited by Jeff's parents, which was really nice, and got a chance to go to Easton and do some shopping, and there's some rays right there, a whole bunch of them, a whole family of them.
Oh yeah. Pretty cool.
Awesome. It's totally awesome. And we also had the opportunity to work on our engine quite a bit. We realized that we were having an issue with the oil pressure, and we didn't know if it was the gauge or the sender or the actual engine itself. So Jeff did a bunch of work on that. And now that we've got that figured out, we're going to head down to Oxford and Cambridge, check out those sort of historic towns, and then maybe head to Tucson after that. We've been to Solomon's before, but we're thinking about heading a little bit further up to St. Leonard's and a place called Vera's White Sands something, like restaurant or something like that. I'm hoping Vera is still around. We've read that she's quite the lady. So that's sort of our more short-term plans. After that, we may head north. We'd like to get to Havre de Grace, but we don't know if that's going to happen. We just got a couple of weeks left, and we are planning to haul the boat in Rockall. We looked around at a lot of different yards, and Sailing Emporium seems like it's going to be a really good fit for us. So that's our plan right now. And it's just really calm and beautiful out here today. There's not a lot of wind, so we're motoring. As you can see, the water is just so calm and peaceful, and we've seen a lot of rays out here today, and we're just enjoying being out here and relaxing and sort of thinking about what we want to do with the rest of our summer.
Be sure to check out our next episode where we sail to Cambridge, Maryland and tie up to this awesome free dock. Within walking distance are great bars, good restaurants, provisioning, banks, laundry, etc., and some really amazing cheese.